After a big argument, my in-laws acted like I didn't matter anymore. No calls, no texts. Even my husband went along with it. When I asked him why, he just shrugged and said, "They'll come around." So I booked a one-way flight. By the time they realized I was gone, it was too late. I'd given my in-laws 6 years. 6 years of holding my tongue, being polite, and dealing with their hurtful comments. I remembered their birthdays, sent gifts, and hosted them in my home, even when they barely acknowledged me. Then suddenly, they decided I wasn't part of the family anymore. No texts, no calls, not even a holiday card. The worst part? My husband didn't stand up for me. It happened one Friday night. We were having dinner with his parents at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Nashville. It was supposed to be a nice evening, but I should have known better. His dad, Alan, always had a lot to say after a few drinks. During dinner, Alan started going on about how men today were too soft and how women should stay with their kids. I looked at Ryan, but he stayed silent. So I responded, "Well, if you're going to pay all our bills, I'd be happy to stay home." The table went quiet. Alan put down his fork, his face turning red. His mom, Patricia, sighed like I had embarrassed them. Alan growled, "You're disrespectful. You don't appreciate what this family does for you." I blinked. "What exactly have you done for me?" Ryan squeezed my thigh under the table, warning me to stay quiet. "Shut up." I pulled my leg away. I wasn't playing nice anymore. Alan continued, "You live in our house. You should be grateful." Our house? Ryan and I bought our home together with our money. Alan hadn't helped at all. But in his mind, because Ryan was his son, it was his legacy, and I was just a guest. I dropped my napkin and stood up. "If you don't want me here, fine." I walked out. Ryan didn't follow. At first, I thought they'd calm down. Maybe Alan would call and apologize. But no. Silence. No calls. No texts. And Ryan? He went along with it. I tested it. I didn't text Ryan's sister Maddie on her birthday, no response. I didn't send a card for his cousin's baby, nothing. I didn't RSVP for his uncle's wedding, no acknowledgement. They had erased me. After 2 weeks, I finally asked Ryan, "Did your parents say anything about me?" He didn't even look up from his phone. "No." "No." I repeated. He shrugged. "They'll come around." That was his answer, like it was nothing. That night, I lay in bed feeling like a stranger in my own home. My in-laws had shut me out and Ryan let them. So I decided to stop trying. The next morning, I stopped texting first. I didn't remind Ryan to call his mom on her birthday. I didn't buy gifts for his family. I didn't ask about Maddie's new job. I became invisible to them, just like they were to me. And Ryan didn't notice. One night, I came home late from work and Ryan, confused, asked, "Did you forget to cook?" I dropped my bag by the door. "No." I just figured since I don't exist, my cooking shouldn't either. He laughed. "You're still mad about my parents?" "Still mad?" I didn't respond. I just walked into the bedroom and locked the door. The next morning, I made a few calls. First to a lawyer, not for divorce, not yet, but to make sure my finances were okay. Second, to a recruiter. I had a remote marketing job, but started looking for better offers somewhere far from Tennessee. Third, to a real estate agent. By the end of the week, I had a one-way ticket to Seattle and a lease for a townhouse in Fremont. Ryan didn't notice a thing. 2 weeks later, I was ready to go. When Ryan came home, I was standing in the kitchen. With 3 suitcases and a folder of legal papers, he frowned. "What's all this?" "I'm leaving." He looked confused. "Leaving for what?" "Seattle." "For how long?" I tilted my head. He actually laughed, like I was joking. "You're being dramatic." I picked up my suitcase and walked toward the door. He didn't follow. 2 weeks later, Ryan called. By then, I was in my new townhouse, sipping coffee on my balcony. His voice was strained. "Are you seriously doing this?" I took a slow sip of coffee. "I thought you said they'd come around." Silence. "I didn't think you'd actually leave." "Well," I said, "you didn't think about me at all, did you?" More silence. Then, "Just come home." "Home," I echoed. I didn't have a home there. Just a house full of people who didn't see me. And just like that, my phone started ringing. First, his mom emailed, "You're breaking up this family. How could you do this to Ryan?" Then his dad texted, "This is childish. Come back and fix this." Oh, now I existed. I sent a single reply to his mother. "If you truly cared, you would have reached out before I left." Then I blocked them all. I should have known they wouldn't let me go so easily. For a brief moment, I thought I had won, that I had escaped. But I was wrong. I underestimated them. First, it was emails, then phone calls. And when I didn't respond, they sent Ryan. It was a Sunday afternoon. I had just finished setting up my new place, a small townhouse in Vermont with a view of the water. My new life felt calm, like I could finally breathe. Then someone knocked on my door. Hard. Not a friendly knock, but one that felt like they were trying to break it down. I peeked through the peephole. It was Ryan. I sighed and opened the door. "What are you doing here?" I asked. His eyes were wide, like he hadn't slept in days. His clothes were wrinkled, his jaw unshaven. He didn't even say hello. "You blocked my number." I crossed my arms. "Yes." He let out a humorless laugh. "And you just moved without telling me?" "I did tell you. You just didn't listen." Ryan stepped inside without asking, walking right past me. "You really doing this?" he muttered, glancing around. His eyes landed on the boxes I hadn't unpacked. "You really think this is your life now?" "I know it is." He turned to face me, his fists clenching. That's when I saw it, the anger. Not sadness. Not regret. But pure rage. "You're selfish, you know that?" His words made my stomach drop. Ryan had never spoken to me like that before. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't love. It never was. This was about control. "You need to come home," he said. I laughed. "Why would I do that?" "Because you're my wife." I raised an eyebrow. And you don't just leave your husband like this." I stared at him, waiting for him to say something, anything that wasn't about his feelings. But he just stood there, breathing. He stood there, heavily, hands clenched at his sides. I stepped closer. "Ryan," I said softly, "you never asked me why I left." Silence. "You never asked if I was happy. You never asked what you did wrong." More silence. He blinked, opened his mouth, then closed it, because deep down he knew the answer. "I did everything right," he finally muttered. And that's when I saw it, the truth. Ryan thought he was a good husband because he didn't cheat, because he had a steady job, because he never hurt me. But he never chose me. And now he couldn't understand why I didn't want to choose him either. "You know," Ryan said, rubbing his jaw, "my dad said you'd do this." I froze. "What?" Ryan continued, smirking. "You'd pull some crazy feminist stunt one day. That you'd leave." A chill ran through me. "Oh, and get this," he added. "He told me not to worry, that you'd come crawling back once you realized you couldn't handle the real world alone." I took a slow, steady breath. There it was, the real reason he came. Not for me. Not for a marriage. But for his ego. For his father's approval. Alan had told him to wait it out. That I'd fail. That I'd come crawling back. Humiliated. And Ryan? He wanted to watch it happen. I clenched my jaw. "You need to leave." He shook his head. "You're making a mistake." "No, Ryan." I stepped forward, meeting his eyes. "The mistake was ever believing you gave a damn about me." He stared at me for a long time. Then did the one thing I wasn't expecting. He smirked and said, "You should check your bank account." After Ryan left, I grabbed my laptop and logged into my bank. That's when I saw it. Every shared account was empty, the savings, the emergency fund, even the joint checking. He had drained everything. The only thing left was the money in my personal account, which, thankfully, I had moved weeks ago. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the pending transaction. A wire transfer to Alan's account for almost $40,000. My money. Gone. I sat there, staring at the screen, my heart pounding. I could feel the anger rising in me. He thought he could ruin me. He thought I would come crawling back. He thought I needed him. He was so sure I would fail. But Ryan had forgotten one thing. I had been invisible to him for years. And that meant he had no idea what I was truly capable of. Ryan thought he won. I stared at the nearly empty bank account, my pulse racing in my ears. $40,000.
Gone.
Sent straight to Alan's account. He really did it. He really thought he could drain me dry and walk away. For a moment, panic almost took over. But then I realized something. Ryan didn't know everything. And that was his mistake, that I grabbed my phone and dialed a number I never thought I'd use, my lawyer.
Hey, it's me, I said.
We have a problem. And just like that, the real fight began. Here's what Ryan didn't know. Before I left, I had already moved my half of the money into my personal account. That $44,000? It was all his savings, his emergency fund, his rent money. He had stolen from himself. I leaned back, watching my lawyer's email go out to Ryan and Alan in real time. Subject line: immediate legal action, unauthorized transaction. The email was cold, professional. It explained how Ryan had fraudulently transferred funds without my consent, how I had already contacted the bank, and how, if the money wasn't returned within 24 hours, we'd escalate to legal action. And the best part? Ryan was about to learn the hard way that Alan wasn't as loyal as he thought. Less than an hour later, my lawyer forwarded me a response. It wasn't from Ryan. It was from Alan. That money was given to me as a gift. If Ryan made a mistake, that's on him. I won't be returning a cent. I laughed out loud. Ryan was screwed. Alan had taken every penny and threw his own son under the bus. I texted Ryan. Me and your dad just stole from you. Hope it was worth it. No response. Not for 2 days. Then he showed up again. It was raining hard that night. I was asleep when I heard it.
Bang, bang, bang.
My heart raced.
Bang, bang, bang.
I grabbed my phone and checked the doorbell camera. Ryan, soaking wet. I almost ignored him. Almost. But then I saw his face, and I knew he had nothing left. I opened the door just enough to look at him. He looked wild, like he hadn't slept or eaten in days. I don't have anywhere to go, he muttered. I leaned against the doorframe. Not my problem. His hands shook. His jaw was tight. My dad won't answer my calls, he admitted. The bank said I can't dispute the transfer because I sent it willingly. And now my landlord is threatening to evict me. I crossed my arms. And what do you want me to do about it? His eyes snapped to mine. You could fix this, he said. I laughed. Fix this? I repeated. You tried to steal from me, Ryan. Why the hell would I help you? His face twisted. You're my wife. I took a slow breath. Not for long. And just to twist the knife a little deeper, I added, oh, by the way, tell your dad I'll see him in court, because what Ryan didn't know was that I had one last card to play. Before I left Tennessee, I had done something Ryan never noticed. I had recorded every conversation with Alan, where he called me a liability.
A mistake.
Not really part of the family. I had emails from Patricia saying women shouldn't have separate bank accounts. I had texts from Maddie calling me crazy and a gold digger, even though I had paid for half of everything in my marriage. And I had one big piece of evidence, a voicemail from Alan saying, don't worry about the money, son. If she fights back, we'll make sure she walks away with nothing. Ryan had no idea I had proof. And when my lawyer sent that final email, including the recording, Alan was suddenly very eager to settle. Ryan thought I was bluffing. Alan thought his money and connections would protect him. They both thought I was the weak one. But now, everything was about to come crashing down, and I would be the one lighting the match. I was sitting on my couch, sipping my coffee, when my lawyer called. We have a settlement meeting, he said. I leaned forward. With who? Ryan. Alan. Their attorney. They're offering a deal. I smiled, because I knew exactly what that meant. Alan was panicking. He must have realized that the voicemail, his own words, was enough to burn him in court. Maybe his business partners found out. Maybe Ryan had finally figured out he'd been played. Did it matter? They wanted a way out. So I gave them one. I agreed to meet them, but only on my terms. We met at a law firm downtown, in a big conference room with windows that looked out over the city. Alan sat at the head of the table, arms crossed, looking angry. Ryan sat next to him, looking lost, unsure whether to be mad, embarrassed, or scared. I sat across from them, with my lawyer next to me. Alan's lawyer, a well-dressed man in a navy suit, cleared his throat. "My clients," he began, "are offering a financial settlement in exchange for a non-disclosure agreement. They admit the way they handled the transfer was a mistake, and they're willing to return part of the money." I raised an eyebrow. "Part?" I asked. Alan spoke up for the first time, his voice tight with anger. "You're not getting all of it," he snapped. "You left my son. You walked out on your marriage. Why should we give you anything?" I took a slow breath and pulled out a folder from my bag. "Because," I said, sliding it across the table, "if you don't, I'll release these." Alan's lawyer opened the folder, flipping through printouts of emails, text messages, everything terrible Alan had ever said about me. Ryan stiffened when he saw the texts. The ones where he made fun of me to his dad, saying she'll never leave. She's too emotional. The ones where they called me a waste of a wife and joked about ruining me if I ever fought back. Alan's lawyer looked shocked. "You recorded these?" he asked, flipping through the pages. Alan slammed the folder shut. "You wouldn't dare." I smiled. "Try me." Ryan finally spoke up. "You planned this," he muttered, shaking his head. "You planned all of this." I turned to him. "You really think I wanted this?" "You left me," he said, his voice full of frustration. "No, Ryan," I said. "You let me leave." There was a long silence. Ryan looked at Alan, then back at me. For the first time, I saw doubt in his eyes. He was starting to realize it, how his father had used him. How Alan never cared about him, just about controlling him. Ryan swallowed hard. "You want to destroy my family?" "No," I said, standing up. "Your family destroyed itself." I grabbed my bag. "Now, you can either sign the agreement and give me what I'm owed, or you can watch me drag your family through the mud." Alan glared at me, but I could see he knew he had lost. They signed. I got every penny back, plus some extra for damages, in exchange for not making the evidence public. Ryan left without saying a word to me, not even looking back. As for Alan, well, 2 days later, he got fired from his company after someone leaked those messages. It wasn't me, but someone. Maybe Maddie. Maybe one of Alan's friends. Maybe it was just karma. Either way, Alan lost his job, his reputation, and his power. Ryan tried calling me once and left a voicemail. I don't know what to do anymore. I never called him back. I spent 6 years trying to fit into that family. Turns out, the best thing I ever did was walk away. Because now I live on my own terms. And they don't exist to me anymore.